Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I really do appreciate it. We are looking for sponsors for the program so we can continue to get this message of conservative social and political commentary out into the world. So if you would like to sponsor the program, please contact me and let me know. Meanwhile, feel free, as always, to subscribe to us. We are on every major podcast platform in the country: iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. Subscribe to us. Follow us on YouTube and on Facebook at The Right Side with Doug Billings. Look us up on Twitter at Doug Billings, and we appreciate that very much. So this is the big night. This is like Christmas Eve for political junkies, ladies and gentlemen. It is Election Day Eve, and I'm going to give you my predictions for the 2020 presidential election here in just a moment. Looking through the data in the stack of things here on the desk, I was encouraged by some data that I read from Robert Kahali, who is the CEO of the Trafalgar Group, who says that the battleground states, Robert Kahali says this of Trafalgar, that of all of the battleground states, African-American votes up 20% since 2016. Now, that's huge news. Likely much higher than that, but that's a conservative number. So very, very good news that in the battle states, President Trump is enjoying a 20% markup from where he began in 2016. And it shouldn't be a surprise to any of us who are paying attention. We don't hear about it in the mainstream fake news media, of course, but after everything that President Trump has done for the African-American community in the last 3.5 years, this piece of data should surprise no one. Absolutely phenomenal job he's done. We've got black celebrities, black leaders coming out, supporting him, President Trump, and it's having a domino effect in that community. And I think it's a good thing. It makes perfect sense. Also, we have just vast numbers of Hispanic and Latino voters moving towards Trump. I was looking at some data here, and it's saying that, in fact, so much Hispanic and Latino support that it's off the charts. Just off the charts, early voting data, both African-American and the Latino Hispanic communities. With regards to the Hispanic and Latinos, again, it should be no surprise here, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. Most of the people in this demographic have either firsthand experience or are the sons and daughters and relatives of first, second generation folks who have direct experience with socialism and communism. And they see the new Democratic Socialist Communist Party in this country as a replay of what happened in places like Cuba and Venezuela. So it should be no surprise that in record off-the-chart fashion, Hispanics and Latinos are moving towards Trump to support him in the early voting data that we have and that we're looking at here tonight. Now, another piece of data, and this may surprise some of you. It somewhat surprised me, but then when I thought about it, and when I explain it to you, I think that it will make sense to you. Young people. Young people. Now, if we listen to the mainstream media, young people are all bought in to the new Democratic Socialist Communist Party. This is simply not true, and here's why. You may have seen on this program, we've interviewed a couple of dozen of high school students, college students, etc. You may have seen the same age group on other podcasts or other newscasts. They say without a doubt, the vast majority of them, and I mean upwards of 95% of this age group, want to get back to school. They want to get back to their lives. They want to get back to their friendships. And when they hear Joe Biden say that he may lock us down again for an extended period of time or until COVID disappears, this freaks the young people out. They're already crushed. Their hopes are already dashed. And they're going in record numbers in early voting for President Trump. Even those kids who they themselves and from their own families might never have imagined themselves voting for President Trump, they're voting for him now because they don't want to go through another shutdown. They realize that in their demographic, in virtually every age demographic, COVID is a nothing burger, ladies and gentlemen, and they know it. These kids in this age group are untouchable, basically. with an infection to mortality ratio of 0.00003%. That's 4 zeros and a 3%. These kids know, and they want the country back open, and they don't want a presidential candidate out there threatening to shut them down again. So early voting data, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, young people voting in massive numbers for President Trump. I mean, it's overwhelming. And the kids, again, I'll just say this, they feel hopeless because their academic and athletic and other scholarships are at risk. And God bless them for being smart and savvy enough to say, you know, I may not like Trump's personality, but I sure as hell don't want to go through another lockdown again. And so there they go, voting for Trump. So good news. I think what we'll see also is the media claim, as they have been, that all of these early votes are for the Democrats. Oh, it's great. It's great. It's good. They're all enthusiastic and eager to vote for Biden. When I hear them say they're enthusiastic and eager to vote for Biden, I know right away that's a red flag, and it's not true because there is no enthusiasm for Biden. Look, you guys, this is shaping up to be just like Trump and Hillary in 2016, except for this. This is going to be much bigger for Trump. I'm going to talk a lot about the evidence of the obvious and how the evidence of the obvious has been visible to us the entire year 2020, and how we haven't been. No one in the mainstream media has talked about the evidence of the obvious, in as much as it has an impact on the election. So I think this is all shaping up to be much bigger than Trump's victory in 2016. I think it's going to go down as big or bigger than when Ronald Reagan beat Michael Dukakis. So I'm talking about Electoral College record-setting election results. And I'm also telling you that President Trump is going to win the popular vote as well. So let me begin. With just 1 day before the election, evidence of the obvious is enough, and all of the evidence points to President Trump and a landslide. It's not just about the tightening of the polls that you hear about in the news. It's not just about battleground states where you think Trump is here and Biden's a few points up. The polls, forget the traditional polls, forget them. Evidence of the obvious is what we see with our eyes, right? President Trump is outworking Vice President Biden. He's kicking his ass, ladies and gentlemen. Trump is absolutely outworking him. I'm talking about things that are much more important than polls, and something that's being completely ignored by the mainstream media. I'm talking about early voting members and numbers that most of the mainstream media won't talk to you about because they're scared to death. We did a show earlier in the day about how the Democratic Socialist Communist Party is in full panic mode because of this very stuff right here. Okay, let's look specifically at states like Arizona, Nevada. I think we could put Iowa in there, North Carolina, probably South Carolina as well, and definitely Florida. All of these have early voting reports where Trump is absolutely dominating the race in these states with regards to early voting. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, President Trump is not only working his ass off to earn your vote, which again is evidence of the obvious. We see rally upon rally upon rally with multiple tens of thousands of people in attendance. And for 4 or 5 miles on the way to the venue, streets are lined with Trump supporters just so they could wave at his motorcade as it passes by. Trump's not only kicking Biden's ass, he's kicking the new Democratic Socialist Party's ass, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, his ideas, his ideals, his strategies, his policies, they're destroying their ideals. In fact, Biden is plagiarizing Trump's ideas. His work ethic, Trump's work ethic, destroying Biden's work. Biden doesn't even have a work ethic. Are you kidding me? Biden has a nap ethic. He has a hide in the basement ethic. avoid tough questions ethic. Oh, he's got all of that stuff down pat for sure. But Trump is poised to complete, I think, the largest landslides in American political history. And we have to look no further than Florida to get a microcosm and a sneak peek about the entire country. Because what's going on in Florida is happening in all of the battleground states, according to the data and according to the the early voter turnout. Trump's on pace to win the popular vote and to seal Electoral College record-setting numbers. He's leading in 2 counties, and I'm talking about Florida now, as it applies to being a microcosm of the entire country. So let's look at in 2 counties. Miami-Dade County, he's leading there in the popular vote and the electoral vote. And he's also leading in a county that is traditionally a heavy Democrat county, Palm Beach, right? Palm Beach County. So I've heard from leaders of the new Democratic Socialist Communist Party, they are in panic mode about Florida because they think it's representative of what will happen in the other states, the other battleground states. So I've said this multiple times on this show, that there's a vast majority of Republicans out there who just don't participate in polls. And they sure as heck don't give their vote away to a stranger who calls them up on a phone call saying they're taking a poll about presidential elections. A large group of us just don't do that. Okay, there's multiple reasons why, but most of us just don't do it. But the Trafalgar poll takes into account these people. They take into account the people that are either shy voters or quiet voters or resistant, to give out their opinion to the public or to strangers that are taking a poll. So the Trafalgar has Trump leading in these states, okay? Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Huge. Pennsylvania is huge. Florida is huge. And if we take a look at the Rasmussen data that's also come out, we see that Trump has a 52% approval rating. Okay, now listen, that's 5 points higher than President Obama's approval rating when he was running for re-election. And don't forget this, probably the most important piece of data is that Americans are not dummies. We're not stupid. No matter what mainstream media tries to censor or hide from us, we can smell a rat a mile away. And we know deception when we see it. And we don't like it. The fake news media is seen by the majority of us, and rightly so, as the enemy. The media is absolutely working for and a political arm of the new Democratic Socialist Communist Party. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. Censorship of major stories, right? And when media outlets censor, or when they flatly just refuse to talk about or ignore major presidential stories in an election year, Hunter Biden's laptop, right? The American voters retaliate peacefully at the ballot box. And that's what's happening, and that's why we're seeing this early data come out in such Trump favorability. Okay. National Public Radio, NPR, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the social media giants, CNN, MSNBC, all of those folks, all of them have made editorial decisions to censor stories, eliminate them from their platforms, and they've refused to objectively cover huge stories like the one I just mentioned, chopping up the stories, trying to kill them, and dumping them off in the field of journalism, hoping they die. Well, what they don't know is those stories rise up and become more powerful after they're censored than they would have ever been had they not been censored. So that's the paradox. The media thinks they're protecting and helping Biden, but they're actually causing him great harm. And the American people see it, and that's why they're going to the polls early to vote in such massive numbers. Don't be fooled. The media says it's all for Biden. Democratic voters heading out early. They may well be, but not nearly in as many numbers as the Republican and the right side. So America gets pissed off at the media, and they get pissed off at Biden for being lazy, for staying inside, for not working hard, for not earning their vote. please. 12 people showing up, 20 people showing up in cars and honking their horns. We've all seen these Biden rallies. They're absolutely pathetic on multiple levels. But President Trump drawing 58,000 in Bethel, Pennsylvania just the other day. And like I said, 4 miles leading to the venue, thousands of people for 4 miles lining the streets just so that they could wave at his motorcade. All right, so without further delay, here you go. I'm going to put this beautiful red map up on the screen for you, and we are going to talk about presidential politics and predictions for the 2020 election. All right, so let's look at it and talk about it. President Trump is going to win the Sunshine Belt. For me, in my terms, that's Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Okay? He's going to take the entire swath of the middle section of the country, with the exception of Illinois. I almost wanted to make that a blue or a red state, but and put an asterisk there because there is so much violence in Chicago, so many kooky mandates coming down from Lori Kook Lightfoot, that you would think that the people would revolt against her and go red. And they might, and so I'm on record saying Illinois might go red, but for the sake of this prediction, I've got it as a blue state. So they should go red. Terrible leadership, but I'm not convinced they'll pull that off based on the data that I've read. So next we go to the upper Middle East United States, the Iron Belt, the Rust Belt. They're going to go for Trump, ladies and gentlemen. Look, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Manufacturing and oil is much too important to these states. And when they heard Biden say that he's going to transition away from fossil fuels and oil, ban fracking, they go, and he lost their vote. So all of those states, manufacturing coming back, it's been back. Trump has brought it back, and the people who are smart, the people that are capable of critical thinking and looking at this thing, understand that it's Trump bringing it back. Biden has been there for 47 years, and he's done nothing except pass legislation that locks up young black men between the ages of 18 and 30. Keeping on with the predictions, I'm also predicting, and here's a big one, New York is going to go red. New York, New York. I want to vote red where I was born and not be forced to leave again. You know, they're going to go red. Here's why. A lot of entertainers there, right? You think it's a liberal state, and it is. Here's the deal. They're out of work. They want their lives back, just like the high school and college kids. They want to get back on Broadway. They want their lives back. They don't want to be locked out for another year. They can't afford to be. Far more people have been destroyed financially, emotionally, psychologically by the shutdowns than the virus has ever touched. So New York goes red. Why not, after all? They've got a kook governor and an absolute fascist idiot as a mayor. So they're going red. So will New Jersey, by the way. Now, Biden will take, you see there in the blue, he's going to take portions of New England, which would be typical, and Virginia most likely, but not by huge numbers, ladies and gentlemen. We start to move out towards the west now. Head west, young man. Trump will pick up electoral college wins in every state out there except for Colorado, Washington, and Oregon. And for the life of me, I wanted Washington and Oregon. I want them to go red. And again, like Illinois, so much chaos out there, so much anarchy, arson, looting, rioting, that you would think that for people to be able to critically think, look, I don't like Trump. I could never imagine myself voting for him. But look, if I do vote for him and he wins, he's gone in 4 years. But I don't know how long this anarchy is going to last if Biden's in there. He doesn't even recognize Antifa. He thinks it's an ideal. So we all may be surprised to see Washington and Oregon go red as well. And wouldn't that be incredible? But for the sake of this exercise and this prediction, I've got them as blue. But look at California. Outside of L.A. and Hollywood and San Francisco, California is a red state, ladies and gentlemen. And with a kook governor, socialist governor Gavin Newsom, and his Thanksgiving and Christmas lockdowns, voters in California can't stand this guy. They're going to vote him out. In the process, they're going to vote President Trump in. California goes red this year, ladies and gentlemen. It does. Count on it. So the final electoral college vote will be Trump 428, Biden 110. 428 to 110. Now, let me explain. Let me give you 6 reasons why. 6 reasons why I think that. Number one, because of the chaos and anarchy that we have seen all year in cities and states run and managed by the new Democratic Socialist Communist Party. They've enabled that chaos. They've paid for it. They've bailed felons out of jail so they could go do it all over again. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have bailed out criminals who are anarchists. And we're sick of it. Americans aren't stupid. We see it. Even though the mainstream media doesn't put it on their TV shows, we see it and we understand it, and we're going to vote it out. Number 2, we're pissed off at a sham impeachment, and we haven't forgotten that. We're also, number 3, very angry about the fact that you tried to pull off a coup even before the man was in office to try to destroy his presidency. We haven't forgotten that one either. Number 5, because Americans don't believe that the new Democratic Socialist Communist Party is an American political party. It's a non-American political party. How could that party claim to be American when all they want to do is destroy the republic, burn it, topple statues, burn the flag? And the new Democratic Socialist Party communist leadership, Pelosi, Schumer, and all the rest, the squad, that stinking squad, they support all of the burning, all of the statue turning. And we don't forget that. They're not an American political party. And number 6, finally, the anarchy again. We've seen it all year, but here's the reason. It's the best. The mob, ironically, is the best political commercial for President Trump. The news has played the chaos in the writing 24/7. And they want you to think that it's Trump that's divided the country and caused it all. Well, we are smarter than that. It's the new Democratic Socialist Communist Party electoral base on the streets, rioting, looting, burning, raping, murdering, taking over portions of cities, assaulting police officers, threatening to defund police organizations and law enforcement. All of these things are the reasons why this landslide is going to happen tomorrow. Every one of these things, and probably a dozen more that you all can think of. So all of these things that the left thought would derail President Trump, the chaos, the mob, the anarchy, etc., have given him strength, and they've rallied the American people around him. This is why you see evidence of the obvious. Rally after rally with tens upon thousands of people showing up. And pollsters need to be out of work. They need to be shut down. Because if what I'm saying comes true tomorrow, we have no need for pollsters. What we need is our eyes and our ears to be able to see and hear what's going on. Because evidence of the obvious is sufficient. So that's it. Trump wins the Electoral College in record numbers, and he will win the popular vote. It's going to be incredible. And the left has no one to blame but their own intellectual immaturity. We're putting a candidate out there who's got cognitive disability, who can't think straight, and whose candidacy is so obvious meant to be a limited one. And I mean limited only by a few months. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. What our eyes see at these rallies is the reason why this landslide is going to happen. Boat rally, train rallies, car rallies. Hell, they have Trump rallies in foreign countries, in Europe and Israel. It's a phenomenon that we have never seen in the world, and especially in the United States. So let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Those are my predictions. What are yours? Let me know. But above all, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you have a pack of blessings on your back no matter what happens tomorrow. We will wake up with a pack of blessings on our back, and I encourage you always and every day to take inventory of that pack of blessings. Be grateful for all that you have. Grateful people are the happiest people on earth. See everything that comes your way as a gift, and learn something that the children of the left never learned. How to handle adversity, how to win, how to keep on trying. We'll meet again. May God continue to bless you, and may he continue to bless and protect President Trump. And may God in his divine providence continue to guide, especially today and tomorrow as we go through our election. May God in his divine providence continue to guide the United States of America. We'll meet again right here on the right side with Doug Billings. Contact me. Look me up. We need sponsors for the show so we can keep this message going. God bless you. Cheers.